Guys and dolls. So Katie's way to the horse. So I've got be lucky. So I've been looking at wee videos now. I've been wanting to do this for a wee while. And you know how I was going about BlackRock and you know how they rule the world and all the rest of it. So I've been look as I go through the internet, I pick up wee videos and there's been a couple of compilations that I've picked up as well. They're all from TikTok, so they are, you know what I mean, they've all been used and used and used again. So it's not like I need to worry too much, you know what I mean? So most of you have probably seen some of these. Some of you won't have seen any of them. So it's going to start doing this every Saturday for you. Something different, and then the live tomorrow night. So try and break it all up so it's not just me. So you have something different every night, sort of thing. I'm going to try and have it like that, so it's more entertaining, you know, for all of us, for me and yous. But let's have a look at the first video.
I'm standing in front of the headquarters of a company that manages $10.6 trillion. That's more than half the United States GDP. Last time, I covered the shady consulting group McKinsey, and you guys asked for one thing: BlackRock. So here we are. BlackRock is the subject of a lot of speculation online.
There is a robot that controls more wealth than any country on earth.
Really, the commander-in-chief is Larry Fink.
They have stock in 95% of Fortune 500 companies, and they've been hired by governments across the world to help manage financial crises and even just conduct normal operations. That means that pretty much any time you interact with the economy, working, buying stuff, driving a car, going to the bank, anything, you're interacting with BlackRock. They profit off of every bit of your life while controlling just the minimum amount they need to make sure they can continue profiting off of every bit of your life. While they're not necessarily the ones making all the nitty-gritty decisions in every company, it is their influence and this giant structure of universal ownership that continues to make their pie bigger and ours smaller. We have something more like a shareholder oligarchy where the people with the most power over where our money and stuff goes are incentivized to make that stuff worse and more expensive and not work for us. And I think we deserve a better one where the people who create the wealth have a say in where it goes.
Yes, gonna get my hair cut today. But yeah, BlackRock, you know. So I'm just gonna throw some clips down for you and then maybe jump in every now and again. Okay?
How much, Joe, have you looked at, Larry Fink, Soros, State Street, Vanguard, BlackRock? How much have you looked at what they're doing and what their ties are?
I've looked at it.
They're pretty much running everything. S&P 500, the number that 88% of the companies on S&P 500, 88% of them, the largest shareholder of those companies is either State Street, BlackRock, or Vanguard. So why are these guys doing what they're doing? You have all the money in the world. You live in a $100 million house. Not you, Larry Fink and some of these guys. I don't know if he lives in a $100 million house, but you got the money to live in a $100 million. What else do you need?
Right.
You got nice cars. Jamie Dimon's got a $900 million art collection, according to an article. It's a nice art collection, right? You go to all the nice restaurants, you meet prime ministers, you meet presidents, and then maybe there comes a time when you're looking at a couple of these guys, they're presidents and prime ministers, and you tell yourself, I'd be a better president than you, bro. How the hell am I not reading the country? Or they tell themselves, you think you're a president? You're not a president, you work for me. What else is the motive? The point is control, is what I'm saying. So the motive becomes control more than money. After you have all the money in the world, what's next? We say we have a commander-in-chief, but really the commander-in-chief is Larry Fink today. The guy running BlackRock is really the president of the United States.
Sorry for the backlight, guys. So yeah, like all yous, I've been saying this for a wee while, you know what I mean? And now Biden's gone. They've only got Starmer, and that's a problem, Yeah, it is quite serious. These are people around the world saying these things, you know what I mean? It's not me just on my high horse, a conspiracy theorist talking a lot of nonsense about a load of millionaires running the world. There's a lot more intelligent people than me, so let's carry on. Let's have a wee delve into BlackRock.
Probably heard of the controversial money management company BlackRock, but not their founder. Larry Fink is the founder and CEO of BlackRock. Fink got his start by creating baskets of mortgages, car loans, and other forms of debt and selling them to institutions. This was the start to his massive empire. BlackRock was hired by the U.S. government to help with the 2008 bailout, hired by the U.S. government to help during the COVID-19 bond buying program, and just recently hired by Ukraine to help with the post-Russian Ukraine war rebuilding efforts. But this is where things get interesting. BlackRock has large stakes in the largest companies in the world. Therefore, they have tons of power when it comes to shareholder votes and board seats. Larry Fink essentially has massive influence in every large company in the world. Critics have said that Fink uses his influence to push his personal agenda, not better these companies.
During the 2008 meltdown, when the government bailed out too big to fail giants like Bear Stearns, AIG, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, who did they hire to analyze and clean up the mess? Another giant financial firm by the name of BlackRock, led by a very well-connected billionaire by the name of Larry Fink. BlackRock was awarded these key government contracts to help with the meltdown with no competitive bidding while being enveloped in secrecy. Basically, Larry Fink was hired to be the manager of Washington's bailout of Wall Street, even though BlackRock is one of the biggest shareholders in the same banks they were helping to get bailed out, making Larry Fink the most powerful man in the post-bailout economy. Fast forward to the 2020 pandemic. Basically, they were bailing out corporations that had too much debt to withstand the pandemic. You guessed it, they went right back to BlackRock. Even though, again, the same corporations BlackRock was helping to bail out were the same corporations that they own some of the biggest stakes in.
Keep in mind though, these are just the top 10 holdings. The whole list, which the Fed has published on the New York Fed website, includes 794 companies. So yes, these are just the top 10 by holdings, but there are hundreds of other companies that could be part of the Fed's portfolio as well.
Larry Fink was the most powerful man in the post-bailout economy, and now he's arguably one of the most powerful men in the post-pandemic economy as well. And yet, despite all his considerable power, the general public has practically never heard of Larry Fink.
You know, a lot of things always keep the best. You don't get the best straight away. You always get a lot of, I'm trying to do that with it, so stick with it. Some good stuff coming. Check this out.
So we went through a deal. I'm like, let me see if these guys, this ESG, Larry Fink, Vanguard, State Street, if they have any influence on military contract, defense contract. Wow. If you Google the largest shareholder for Raytheon, 3 out of the 4 top shareholders of Raytheon, BlackRock, State Street, and Vanguard. It could be top 3 with Raytheon, but I think it's 3 out of 4. If you go look up General Dynamics, if you go look up Boeing, if you go look up, Northrop Grumman, okay? And then you work backwards and you say, okay, how much money is that in what these guys are doing? Look at these contracts, then you're like, okay, Fink is there, these guys are there. Okay, let's go look at Hollywood. Same thing you see there. Let's go look at pharmaceutical. Let's go look at this. And you're like, wait a minute. These guys essentially have a monopoly. These guys is more wars, more people dying, more profits, defense contractors, right? And they ended up having, I think they had 31 signers. I think end of 2022, they got 60 something signers for a total of $70 trillion of assets under management that they're controlling. So now they're controlling other places. And just recently, if you saw the rebuilding of Ukraine. Did you see this contract? Rebuilding of Ukraine, $400 billion contract. BlackRock and Chase is helping rebuild Ukraine. And then, okay, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but what the hell is going on here?
And one of the points, guys, that a lot of my followers make to me, and a lot of people around me say to me, like, we're all squabbling. The Protestant Catholic thing, and now the Muslim Christian thing, you know what I mean? We're all squabbling. There's people out there squabbling right now, and all this is going on, you know what I mean? And what's going on in Russia and Ukraine? Can't get my head around it. I can't understand why we aren't out on the streets demanding a complete withdrawal for anything to do with it, especially money.
It's time for the United States to start thinking of Iraq as a business opportunity.
No one's thinking of Ukraine as a business opportunity, and to say that that's even a possibility makes you and me conspiracy theorists.
Let's start with Lockheed Skunk Works. Ben Rich was the head of the Lockheed Skunk Works and acknowledged towards the end of his period there that they had technologies that could, quote, take ET home. He also stated there are no private conversations anywhere on the earth, true, no matter what your encryption is. And also he said that anything you imagine, we have already done founded the Skunk Works. The Skunk Works that would deal with a conventional jet, rocket, ramjet type classified aircraft. I want to make a distinction between the black budget and highly classified, legally overseen projects. There's a guy I'm working with now who literally oversees the black budget of the United States. And when he tried to find out, he went out to the Lockheed Skunk Works, he was shown a bunch of these conventional propulsion systems. He was not shown the ones that are the man-made UFOs, that are the electrogravitics, the things that float, boom, 100,000 miles per hour.
So what you got to remember, guys, is so these are the people that are running this country. You understand? And whenever people say, "Oh, we'll come out and fight" and all that, and you're seeing videos of people going, "You ready to fight?" and all this nonsense. You know what I mean? And you do hear people going, "Oh, if it comes to this, we'll come out and we'll do that." And I keep saying there is no fight. You got to understand these people are in charge. You know, the technology they have, you wouldn't stand a chance. Civilians would not stand a chance. We would be rounded up and sent to another country and put in prison. You know, like that.
Here we are with our latest story, this time on BlackRock. At OMG, we do not shy away from exposing powerful companies, and we're not afraid of powerful people. So we decided to take a look for ourselves at the influence BlackRock has on our politics and the influence they have on our culture. But we hope and believe by showing these tapes of this BlackRock gatekeeper speaking so plainly on so many topics that not only we wake up people, but also inspire others to come forward on institutions like BlackRock.
It's who's controlling the wallet. So it's
And who's that?
the hedge funds, BlackRock, the banks. These guys want campaign financing. Yep, you can buy your candidates.
How so?
All of these financial institutions, they buy politicians.
But perhaps the most remarkable and profound comment by the BlackRock recruiter is the suggestion that nobody is going to care about what he is saying here or confessing here, because as he says, quote, normal people don't give a shit.
You're like an undercover reporter.
Really? No, don't normal people worry about this stuff?
No, normal people don't give a shit. This is beyond them.
That these types of questions my reporter asked are beyond all of you. The answer is something that you, the people, consumers, the shareholders, could possibly understand.
How do they run the world?
You acquire stuff. You diversify, you acquire, you keep acquiring, you spend whatever you make in acquiring more. And at a certain point, your risk level is super low. Like, imagine you've invested in like 10 different industries, from food to drinks to like technology, right? One of them fails, it doesn't matter. You have 9 others to back you up. Risk management is inherently just about everything. And in the finance space, it's all about it's all about the money you make. You don't let it sit. You keep using it over and over and just
Reinvest.
Yeah, and it exponential growth.
And then once you just own a little bit of everything, is that where the control?
Yeah, you own a little bit of everything, and that little bit of everything gives you so much money on a yearly basis that you can take this big ton of money, and then you can start to buy people. Watch here.
They're all pushing like the same talking point. Like you generally, when you look at news, like
it's propaganda. Ukraine is good for business. You know that, right? I'll give an example. Russia blows up Ukraine's grain silos. Price of wheat's gonna go mad up. Ukrainian economy is tied very largely to the wheat market, global wheat market. This is fantastic if you're trading. Volatility creates opportunity to make profit. War is real good for business. It's exciting when goes wrong, right?
It's been said that it's easier to fool a man than to convince him he's been fooled. There is no question that many Americans are still asleep who may not want to wake up from their necessary illusions.
So, doing daddy duties, and it's amazing. It's amazing, guys. So, oh, better get this right. Still an amateur. I'm still learning. So I am. I'm still learning. Still making silly mistakes by not getting the nappy under. You know, take nappy off, leave baby peas everywhere. So yes, but I'm getting there. Getting there. And but anyway, BlackRock, guys, is you know, what can you say without, you know, and I want to say this, I want to make this very clear. I am in no way suicidal, you know, because these people are really, really dangerous, you know what I mean? Got another couple of clips to come, guys. I see you, baby girl. I see you. Another couple of clips to come. And I'm going to get this wee rooster fed. And she's making life difficult, so she is. She's doing this on purpose. She's lifting her legs up, so I can't get the nappy on. Aren't you, you wee rooster toaster? Aren't you, you wee rooster toaster? Oh, my baby. She's going to need fed. She's going to need fed, guys. So, yep. Let's carry on.
March of 2022, we committed $113 billion. Just to give you an example, we could have built a home for almost every homeless person in this country. We then committed another $24 billion since that 2 months ago, and now President Biden's asking for another $60 billion. But the big, big expenses are going to come after the war.
Ukraine is already opening up for big investment, and hand-rubbing has been happening over a potential business bonanza. Kyiv engaged BlackRock and JP Morgan in 2023 to help set up a fund to raise public capital that could attract private investment for Ukraine's reconstruction. But has the Russia-Ukraine war created a massive profit opportunity?
Number two, most important, Ukraine has to put all of its government-owned assets up for sale to multinational corporations, including all of its agricultural land, the biggest single asset in Europe. In Ukraine, there's been 1,000 years of war fought over that land. It's the richest farmland in the world. It's the breadbasket of Europe.
One way you can understand why the farmers are being attacked, you know what I mean? Because after BlackRock came over, Fink came over, that was whenever the inheritance tax was put on the farmers. And it's all to put the farmers out of business, is to stop the farmers farming so these people can buy the land.
They have some of the best resources in the world that we need. It's not like it's a place without any resources. The country ranks fourth globally in terms of total assessed value of natural resources, with roughly $15 billion in annual output of potential assessed value that could be as high as $7.5 trillion. So guess what BlackRock and Larry Fink think? Bingo, this is the type of a place for us, guys. Let's go in. So you think Larry Fink, who runs BlackRock, who's got over $10 trillion of assets under management, only 2 countries' GDP is bigger than Larry Fink's companies' total money under assets under management, China and US. BlackRock is the 3rd largest country. If you were to look at what they have, assets under management, they're coming in here saying, guys, come on, guys, what are you doing? You work for us. Here's what you're going to do, Zelensky. Here's what you're going to do, Biden. Give this guy that likes drugs and women and prostitute a little bit of this to be quiet. What are we doing here? This is too much noise we're making. Guys, stop it. We got to go make a few $100 billion. You guys are playing small games here. Let's go play the bigger game.
The average home in our country 2 years ago was $215,000. Today it's $400,000. And so kids today, like your kids and my kids, are never going to buy a home. There's 3 big companies, BlackRock, State Street, Vanguard. These are the biggest companies. Those 3 companies own 88% of the S&P 500. Wow. So they basically just own everything. And now what they've decided is they want to own every single family home in our country. Klaus Schwab says, famously, he says, under the Great Reset, you will own nothing, but you will be happy. They pay nothing for money. Their credit is so impeccable.
Oh, I see. They have like a 900.
Yeah.
Oh.
So they got the better than the best credit rating.
But isn't that like privatized communism or something? That's what it feels like.
Well, yeah, it's like socialism for the rich, and this barbaric, merciless, ruthless, savage capitalism for the poor.
That's why they fear us the most. Trust me. That's what I keep on saying. You know, we are the only people that they fear. The people.
Donald Trump was seen in an ad for BlackRock. And if you didn't think this whole incident with Donald Trump was crazy enough, the fact that Trump is seen in this video for BlackRock just adds icing to the cake. BlackRock is one of the biggest companies in the world that owns shares in just about everything. BlackRock has been widely criticized over the years for investing in companies that are involved in fossil fuels,
the arms industry, the People's Liberation Army, and human rights violations in China. BlackRock has been involved in these huge rumors that they were allegedly involved in owning Fox Network and the voting systems. And what makes this whole situation even weirder is the fact that BlackRock took down this video after Trump's was seen in this ad. Like I said, some things are just too much to be a coincidence, but I don't know. You guys let me know what you guys think about Trump's being seen in an ad for BlackRock in the comments.
The pandemic, there was a lot of rent relief. What ended up happening was it ended up being, transfer of wealth. All these bailouts went to these big corporations, right? Yeah. It truly benefited not mom and pop landlords because they still were on the hook for their taxes and utilities and things like that. It really benefited corporate landlords who went in and then bought up a lot of single family homes, and then they jacked the price of real estate up by going in and just outbidding everybody, buying these homes in cash. People have been priced out of home ownership, and now they're renting the homes that are owned by BlackRock. Up until recently, they kind of got out of the real estate game because they were taking a little heat. They're like, now we're buying at the height of the market, rates suck, whatever. Yeah. They backed out, but up until recently, they were, I think, the biggest corporate buyer of U.S. residential real estate. They've priced a generation of people out of owning a home. I think eventually all of these big corporations want you to rent, take Ubers and Lyfts, food delivered. They don't want you to own a business. They want you to work at a corporation that they own. It's terrible.
Yeah, so you can understand why it's dangerous just because you've got all the money in the world that you're like having any influences in countries. Some of the decisions these people are involved in are absolutely nuts. Doesn't make any sense to me. We didn't vote these people in. Our government, we voted our government in. We didn't even vote them in, But you know what I'm saying? Just because you've got all the money in the world doesn't mean you should have any power in other countries around the world. Simple as that.
So what is BlackRock? Well, it's technically not BlackRock. It's their partner company, Blackstone. They're buying up a bunch of real estate, and they bought, I think, close to $300 billion over the last 10 years. They are the largest landowner in the United States. In fact, in some cases, they bought up 90% of single-family homes in a given zip code, and they rent them out.
Because it's affecting people too that want to get into their homes.
You can't compete. They're paying 20 to 50% over the asking price in a lot of the cases with these new builds. You can't compete with that as a family that wants to buy a house in Atlanta, Georgia, or wherever. So what should people be doing? Trying to buy while they still can.
The next video, well, as I say, how vulnerable we truly are.
Good morning, good to see you. You are coming on the air right now with breaking news. A massive global technical outage tied to CrowdStrike, which is a major cybersecurity provider, has knocked critical computer infrastructure offline all across the country and, in fact, all around the world. It's an issue with a software update. It's impacting lots and lots of Microsoft computer systems worldwide, from businesses to emergency services, 911, traffic lights, transit systems, and it's having a major impact on airlines as well. American, Delta, United, they're all keeping their flights grounded. You're looking at some live scenes from the airport. It is chaos again, 6 a.m. on the East Coast, and this is the scene now. They're having difficulty even printing any kind of boarding passes. This, of course, is a developing situation, but this is something that's affecting people worldwide.
Yeah, in other newsrooms, our partners over at Sky News having issues as well. I mean, this is impacting all different types of businesses. When you talk about airlines, you also talk about, just 911 services, in some cases reporting outages as well. And you're even hearing of anecdotes of banks in other countries experiencing that. We don't yet have reporting of banks in the United States being impacted by this.
It all boils down to money. Let's be honest. That's what it all boils down to. Whoever's got the most money is in charge, you know what I mean? But the good side of that is Elon Musk is the richest man in the world. So there is a silver lining.
This is a company most people have never heard of, and this company quite literally owns the world. Most US banks are controlled by BlackRock. BlackRock owns all the major pharmaceutical companies. BlackRock owns most of the mainstream media, and BlackRock oversees roughly 10% of all stocks traded worldwide. And this company is now taking over governments. All of this has allowed BlackRock to amass $10 trillion in assets. Yes, trillion. BlackRock is worth half of America's total GDP. It's so crazy that the US and Chinese government now rely on BlackRock to to escape recessions, with BlackRock's founder and CEO now sitting on the boards of the influential Council on Foreign Relations and the World Economic Forum. In the words of Henry Kissinger, whoever controls the money controls the world, and no other company in history has had this much global influence. And what's even crazier is that BlackRock did this in just 34 years. But you want to know the best part? You've probably never heard of them for a reason.
So what the point of this wee clip there was basically, you know, they control everything. So, you know, this is what we got to understand about what's been going on with Tommy and why our government's been doing this to Tommy. You know, let's be honest, almost everybody knows the truth now. And it's going to get pretty embarrassing for the government. And people are going to be asking the same question over and over again. Why? Why would you do this? You know? It's not about racism. It's not about anything crazy like, oh, we're trying to protect a community, but not protect our children. There's nothing that they can say. They've been told to behave like this. And we've got to ask a serious question. Why? What's going on? What's the big, deep-seated reason that these multi-millionaires are paying so much attention to our country? And I personally believe Tommy Robinson.
You could change three things that could become Prime Minister, and you could change three things that could make the UK great again. What would you change?
If I could change three things, this will upset a few. Well, I'd totally stop their climate change agenda. I'd totally stop. Again, I'd stop open border immigration, and I'd send every one of these men in these hotels out of our country. I'd concentrate on the British people. The people that have given and sacrificed and families have in this country, and concentrate on Britain rather than the globe, which was what globalism wants.
I mean, personally, I honestly believe that people like Tommy Robinson is a huge threat to these people because, you know, morally, everything they do is wrong. And it's only people like us, working class people, that will pull them up on that moral wrong that they do. You know, and another thing is they thrive off disasters, they thrive off war, they thrive off selling equipment, you know, and, you know, civil wars and stuff like that. That's all equipment for the police. All sorts of things come on from stuff not going right in a country. And, you know, are they pushing for an uprising in this country? Are they wanting the police and right-wingers and the police and Muslims to be fighting with each other? Are they wanting to split the country in two so they can pump more money, make more money? You know, wiser people than me can understand what's going on, but, you know, the way they work, I just question everything that's going on, you know what I mean? I question why we're where we are today. Why has Britain been changed the way it's been changed? And who is actually responsible for it? And, you know, when you start looking at all this is another reason why Tommy Robinson is in prison today.
Rely on leading figures from around the world. I think today, Dutch politicians, Danish politicians, Polish politicians, Australian politicians, American politicians are speaking up. Where are the British politicians? Just think where we would be if it wasn't for Elon Musk. Where would this country be? Donald Trump, I don't believe, would have been elected. Where would we all be? We'd all still be under censorship. Still, people wouldn't know the truth. There is a mass awakening happening out there, and they can't stop it. So long as there's free speech. Free speech is the most important thing. Free speech is the hill I will die on. I played this film. I made that film available to the public. Not because they were gagging me, because they were gagging you. They're silencing you. They don't want you to see the truth. That's what this has been about. It's not about me. It's not about people like me. It's about the wider public not knowing what's going on. It's why Jess Phillips doesn't want a groom gang scandal. It's why all of them have acted day in, day out to cover this mess up, because the mess highlights their failures, government failures, open border immigration failures, their failure to tackle these problems. And instead they crush us. How's that working? Have you silenced us? How many views is the film on? How many people are listening now? Has it worked? It's not going to work. You can't look up the truth. Your attempt to look up the truth will not work.
So, guys and dolls, I'm going to wrap it up. But before I go, I just want us to all remember that tonight, Saturday night, no matter what yous are all doing, no matter where yous are, there's a young man in solitary confinement. And he will have been locked up from 3:30, maybe 2 o'clock this afternoon, because that's the way it is in the weekends. You know, depending on what jail you're in. At the very latest, 4 o'clock, you're locked up. You can be locked up from 12 o'clock in the afternoon on a Saturday right through the next morning, because it's a weekend. Screws go off earlier on a Saturday and a Sunday, believe it or not, you know. So, yeah, he's going to be down in the solitary confinement on his own, you know. And I want you just to have a wee thought, maybe send him an wee email, you know, and tell him you were thinking about him, you know what I mean? And that you understand the powers that are against him, because he knows this, guys. He knows what I'm trying to tell you is here without getting my YouTube channel shut down, you know what I mean? He knows these things, you know what I mean? And he's got some fight ahead of him. And this is how dangerous and how scary it is. I honestly believe that these prison sentences are shots across his bow. They're saying, this is what we can do to you. If you keep going, it's going to get worse. That's what I believe. That's how scary these people are. So I want you to remember that Tommy Robinson, you know, no matter what you hear, no matter what you think, no matter what people say, no matter what the negative things are, all the bad things that people think they know or think they believe about him, there's a human being there. There's kids there worrying sick about their dad. Every night they're worrying, are they going to get a phone call that something's happened? You know, there's human beings being affected here. This is a Human Rights Act, you know, 100% that it's being broken by our British government and by the powers that be that pull the strings of the British government. So on that note, I just want to leave a wee happy thing with you. You know I like my dogs and I like my animals. And I'm just going to finish with this. This is the last you're going to hear from me. But you can research and look into this wee last video I'm going to drop for you. And yeah, I think it's very interesting. And God bless every single one of you.
For some weird reason, are attracted to this guy. All animals. All of them. His name is Omar Odavi. This dude pretty much has been like this forever, bro. Since he was like a little kid, he always had this weird connection with animals. They said his mom noticed it when he was a kid, that there was like, there would be stray dogs, things like that, that would be really aggressive until he would come around. And she kept noticing it as he was getting older. And the older he got, it just got stronger. And the video that went viral was, they did this study where they had this guy who isn't Omar.
Yeah.
He sits in this chair right close to like the shore. Nothing comes out. Omar goes and switches the seat with bro. He sits there. Hella sharks that all start coming to the shore.
Really?
And they're all sitting by this guy's feet. And there's like even stingrays are coming next to this guy. And they're all just sitting there relaxing. Pretty much what scientists believe is it has something to do with his blood, because they said he has a high mercury count in his blood.
Really?
Yeah.
And it
which
just
is
makes
interesting.
animals kind of
And
like.
they said it's almost like something like he has a magnetic field around him that attracts them. There was even this other video, he jumps in the water and then like these 4 dolphins literally get around him and they all just start swimming around him and stuff, and they're all like, you know, singing or like,
Nah.
and he's sitting there just like petting them and stuff like that, bro. He just got in the water too, Mike. I can't make this up.
And it's not just like land animals.
It's not just
too.
land animals either. No, it's like he could do it with lions. He's
No
done it
way.
with a bunch of these other creatures as well. Yeah,
Giraffes, all this stuff.
all of them, bro. Yeah.
This is a long-awaited update on Omar Odavi. I'm so sorry it's taken me so long. You all have been so patient, and we really appreciate you, both Omar and I. So Omar now is in the United States. They've been running tests on him for the past few weeks. This is one I filmed where they made him submerge his hand into a fish tank of baby clownfish, and they had all these sensors. Some of them were measuring the mercury content or the magnetic field that were being emitted from him. Others were measuring chemicals that were coming out of his pores, different things to try to get to the bottom of it. I'm still a little skeptical and not fully trusting, and I've told Omar this. He's reassured me that it's fine and it's okay, but we do have our bags packed and everything ready to go in case we need to split at a moment's notice. But a lot of the tests have been pretty cool, and I can't share all the details yet. I'll share them as I can, but quite incredible what he has. It's very real, and I feel so grateful to know Omar.
Guys and dolls, if you like that last video, I've got buy me a coffee up. If you want to buy me a wee coffee, just one coffee. And for those who've been following me from day one, you have done more than enough. This is for anybody who's just jumping on because of the Tommy Robinson rally today. They're on YouTube and they've just discovered me. If you want to help me, thank me, just buy me one coffee and that would be most appreciated. And I'll even get these two a new harness each Thank you very much, guys.